and he was just like, oh, I'm a content creator, I do content, I do this, and me thinking content, the only content I know is YouTube and TikTok. But there were some people in the house that they did know how old I was, but they just never really said anything because they didn't think it was a big deal as well.
So there were people in the house that knew you were 16, but they didn't say anything. Okay.
Because they didn't really think it was a big deal.
I'm good at having no one have any dirt on me, bro. No one can fucking expose me because I don't give them shit. I'm secretive, I'm quiet, I don't tell everyone every move I make.
Work. Now it's an ultimatum. He wanted me, when he realized he didn't have the control over me when it came to other people and like what they could say, he realized that he did need to create an ultimatum for me. He had a contract in hand and he told me to sign it. I didn't even have the opportunity to talk to my parents about it.
Guys, you're not going to believe what's happening with Jack Doherty. He's finally getting what he deserves. Yes, you heard that right. Jack is now facing serious legal trouble. And now, McKinley is back to reveal even more about Jack's twisted reality. You won't believe the details she's exposing.
Going to bed, and I just remember waking up and hand was in my pants. I was in the middle of him and Jack.
And if you thought that was bad, just wait until you hear about the $300,000 diamond chain robbery that's all part of this bizarre narrative.
Guys, I just got robbed on Rodeo Drive for $300,000 worth of my diamond chain.
McKinley's convinced it was staged, something that Jack's been denying repeatedly.
Got his chain, yeah. No, I just want to get your opinion.
Okay.
For people that don't know, and this is up to you, but it just feels staged.
I feel like it's staged. I'm not gonna lie.
But like,
where were the cameras at?
People will go through all that for a clip.
You gotta get his money up.
But now, the truth is slowly coming to light, and it's worse than we imagined. Stick around because we're about to dive into the full story, and trust me, it's about to get a whole lot crazier. McKinley's story is the one that started it all. She was just another face in Jack's whirlwind of content creation, until the day everything changed. One morning, McKinley woke up to a shocking realization about her situation with Jack. She found herself in the middle of a nightmarish scenario where Jack, the man behind the camera, wasn't the sweet, charming guy she thought she knew. Instead, he was someone far darker, pulling the strings behind the scenes.
But within that first week, something horrible happened to me. He had a hometown friend there that he had known.
Staying with you.
Staying with us in the house. Okay. We ended up going to bed, and I just remember waking up and hand was in my pants. I was in the middle of him and Jack, and I just felt so violated and scared. I woke up freaking out. I pushed him away from me, and I'm like trying to tap Jack, and I'm like, Jack, and he's drunk as shit. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm pushing this guy off of me, and he doesn't care. I turned, he just is saying, I'm gonna fuck you right now. And I woke him up, and Jack woke up, and he was like, I was like, get him out of here. Like, I don't know what to do. And he's trying to hump me from the back while I'm talking to Jack, and Jack is awake. And Jack is like, bro, get out of here. Like, what are you doing? Go. And he was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm fucking her right now. I pulled Jack aside. I was like, I need to talk to you. And I was like, do you remember what happened last night? He was like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And I was like, he did that to me.
What started as a normal relationship quickly turned manipulative. McKinley exposed more about Jack's twisted ways, shedding light on his controlling behavior. She recalled moments when Jack would pressure her into doing things she wasn't comfortable with, manipulating her at every turn. What McKinley initially thought was love or a partnership turned out to be nothing more than Jack using her for his own gain, shaping her into another part of his content machine.
And she basically told me, listen, don't freak out, but Jack really wants you to start OnlyFans, and he said that there's no reason for you guys to be together if you're not helping. And I broke down in tears. I was like, wow. Like, everything that he had said to me, like, oh, I know you're my wife because you don't have one, and getting me to go to dinner and try to get me on OnlyFans, but it didn't work. Now it's an ultimatum. He wanted me.
This wasn't the only bombshell McKinley dropped. Her videos revealed a side of Jack that nobody expected. Beneath the fame and attention, Jack Doherty was hiding a much darker truth. And McKinley wasn't done yet. McKinley's expose was only the beginning. There was much more to Jack's story, and it's about to get even crazier. One of the most jaw-dropping moments in Jack's saga involves the infamous $300,000 diamond chain robbery. On the surface, it seemed like the perfect viral moment. Jack was robbed on Rodeo Drive, and the expensive chain was taken right off his neck. The footage was shocking, and the media ate it up, but McKinley wasn't buying it. According to her, this wasn't a robbery, it was all scripted. She believed that Jack staged the whole event for clout, turning it into a cash grab and a way to garner more views. Despite Jack's constant denials, the more McKinley exposed, the clearer it became that something was off. The robbery was too perfectly timed, too dramatic to be real. McKinley shared how Jack was always looking for ways to boost his fame and keep the spotlight on him, even if it meant staging a crime. The entire incident, according to McKinley, was part of Jack's ongoing efforts to keep the public hooked and invested in his persona. As the details of the robbery came to light, it became hard for anyone to deny that Jack had orchestrated this whole thing for views. And while he continues to deny it, the evidence is mounting, showing that this might not have been the only time Jack has staged a viral stunt. But the staged robbery is just one chapter. The real story lies behind Jack's business dealings, and that's where things get even darker. Jack Doherty's OnlyFans agency is where things really start to get disturbing. On the surface, it looks like any other influencer management business, but McKinley's expose revealed the dark truth behind the scenes. Jack wasn't just running an agency, he was controlling and manipulating young influencers for his own gain. These influencers weren't just working for him, they were being coerced into signing contracts that gave Jack full control over their content, social media accounts, and even their personal lives.
Didn't like how it said, he owns all of my social media accounts because, again, I had a following. I had 500,000 followers on TikTok. I had over 100K on Instagram. That was something I had built for years, and that was something that I held very close to me. So I was like, I just want to make sure, in this contract, do you actually own all of my accounts, even the ones that I have? And then he was like, no, the contract means nothing. We can change anything, but it's whatever, just sign it. I signed it, and then first words that came out of his mouth were, "You're now Jack Doherty's girlfriend."
McKinley explained that once you entered Jack's world, you were trapped in it. He would pressure influencers into joining his agency, promising them success and wealth. But once they were signed on, they quickly realized the price they had to pay. Jack didn't just want their content, he wanted their lives. From controlling what they posted to even dictating how they acted off camera, Jack's influence was suffocating. This business model wasn't about empowering creators, it was about exploiting them. And it wasn't just McKinley who felt the weight of Jack's control. Others who had worked with Jack reported similar experiences, being manipulated, pressured, and left feeling used. Jack turned what could have been a mutually beneficial business relationship into a toxic, one-sided operation. But Jack's manipulation didn't stop at his business. He took it into his personal relationships, and that's where things took an even darker turn. McKinley's experience with Jack went beyond just a business relationship. It turned into a nightmare of manipulation and coercion. After signing a contract with Jack, everything changed. What was supposed to be a partnership quickly morphed into a controlling and toxic situation. Jack didn't just want her content, he wanted to control her entire life. One of the most disturbing things McKinley revealed was how Jack forced her to sign a contract without any time to think about it. She wasn't allowed to consult with her parents or seek legal advice. The pressure was overwhelming.
When he realized he didn't have the control over me when it came to other people and what they could say, he realized that he did need to create an ultimatum for me. We ended up going to bed, and I woke up, and that morning he had a contract in hand and he told me to sign it. I didn't even have the opportunity to talk to my parents about it. I was gonna call my mom because my mom was more comforting, in that situation, because my dad obviously didn't want to talk to him about that at all. But I didn't even have time for that or for any legal representation. He gave me the contract, and he basically just said sign it.
After signing, things escalated quickly. Jack didn't just control what McKinley posted, he dictated her every move. From what to wear to what to say, Jack's influence was everywhere. He didn't see her as an individual, he saw her as part of his content machine. What McKinley experienced was more than just business. It was emotional manipulation and control. She was forced to comply with Jack's demands or face consequences. Her personal life was consumed by his expectations. And as much as McKinley tried to break free, Jack's grip only tightened.
The second I signed to him and gave him, access to my accounts and all of this stuff, the disrespect started showing. He was not as respectful as he was in the beginning. A dinner, you could forget about it. We never went on dates. We never did anything like how we did in the past. He was strictly just, content. So I was like, how do you keep up with all of this stuff? Like, I'm exhausted. Like, how does your life, like, how do you continue to do this? And he was like, it's all. Like, you should try. He was like, you will be successful.
But McKinley isn't the only one who suffered at Jack's hands. More victims have started to speak out, revealing a pattern of exploitation and control. McKinley's story is just one piece of the puzzle. As more people come forward, it becomes clear that Jack's manipulative behavior wasn't isolated to just her. Other former associates and influencers have started to share their experiences, and the stories are eerily similar. They all paint the same picture. Jack was using his influence to control and exploit young creators for his own gain. One common theme across these accounts is Jack's relentless pressure to keep working, creating content, and putting up a perfect facade. Influencers weren't allowed to just be themselves. They had to live up to Jack's standards, and if they didn't comply, the consequences were swift and harsh. Many spoke about feeling trapped, not knowing how to escape from Jack's grasp without losing everything they had built.
And he was just like, oh, I'm a content creator, I do content, I do this, and me thinking content, the only content I know is YouTube and TikTok. I didn't know this thing was a thing. So then when he invites me over, he was like, oh, there's a bunch, it's like an influencer house with a bunch of people. So I'm like, okay, it's not no weird shit. I'm not gonna go meet up with this man alone. No, I'm gonna go. I went with my mom. We went to see like who was there. We saw like there was girls there. So she let me be. But there were some people in the house that they did know my age. Like they did know how old I was, but they just never really said anything because they didn't think it was a big deal as well.
Okay, before you play it, Jakeem, hold on. So there were people in the house that knew you were 16, but they didn't say anything. Okay.
Because they didn't really think it was a big deal.
The mental and emotional toll on these victims was staggering. They were manipulated into thinking they couldn't succeed without Jack, that they needed him to survive in the influencer world. But the truth was, Jack didn't care about their success. He cared about controlling them and using their popularity for his own profit. The ripple effect of his actions has left many young influencers emotionally scarred and disillusioned with the industry. But as more victims speak out, the question remains, what will happen to Jack now? Legal action is looming, and the consequences of his actions are about to catch up with him. As the allegations against Jack Doherty continue to mount, the legal consequences are becoming harder to ignore. The accusations of exploitation, manipulation, and coercion aren't just damaging to his reputation, they could lead to serious legal action. If these claims hold up, Jack could face criminal charges that could change his life forever. One of the most alarming potential outcomes involves sex law. That's just the beginning. There are also charges for exploiting minors, using the internet to lure them into his business and making them perform for money. These could result in even more prison time, with penalties ranging from 10 to 15 years or more. On top of that, Jack could be hit with civil lawsuits from the victims, which could lead to hefty fines and mandatory restitution. There's also the possibility of asset forfeiture, where Jack could lose everything he's gained from exploiting others. And let's not forget about mandatory sex offender registration if these charges stick. With all these legal consequences hanging over his head, Jack's future is uncertain. The question now is whether he will face real accountability for his actions or if he'll continue to get away with it. So, what does all of this mean for Jack and for the influencer world as a whole? As we've seen, the story of Jack Doherty isn't just about a single person. It's a reflection of a much larger problem within the influencer world. From manipulation and exploitation to fake stunts for views, Jack's actions serve as a stark reminder of how unchecked power can ruin lives. But the real question is, will Jack face the legal consequences he deserves, or will this continue to be swept under the rug? The bigger issue at hand is the need for accountability and regulation in the influencer industry. There's a growing need for stricter rules to protect young creators from being exploited by people like Jack, who see them as nothing more than tools for personal gain. It's time to stand up and demand change, not just for Jack's victims, but for the entire industry. What do you think? Should Jack Doherty face the full consequences for his actions? Do you believe the influencer world needs more regulation to protect creators? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you think this story needs to be heard, make sure to share it. The more people know, the more we can push for change.